You know, my favorite thing about yard sale season is finding things for my own personal collection, and these cups made the perfect addition. While this weekend was a shorter yard sale weekend, the weather was being a little bit cold and it felt like it was going to rain. So a lot of the sellers pulled back on their yard sales and some canceled them outright. But the ones that we did go to ended up finding some really good stuff. First yard sale of the day, walked up, spotted a whole box full of sports memorabilia and trading cards. Now, he had the original 1984 Detroit Tigers Little Caesars glasses. He had 4 of them for $5, so I scooped those up because they are awesome, and I'm a Tigers fan. He also had a bunch of trading cards. Now, I don't know enough about sports trading cards. I'm more of a Pokemon / Yu-Gi-Oh guy, but he looked like he was willing to sell those for pretty cheap, although I did pass on them. And there was a boxed Hot Wheels cars, Johnny Lightning, stuff like that. Like I said, I don't know enough about those as well. And with me having bought that big Transformers collection a few months ago, I decided to pass on those. So the cool thing about this is he did have some trading cards for like rated rookies. So that's Brian Branch. I'm a Lions and Tiger fan. So he threw those in because I bought the Desert Storm cards and the Little Caesars cups. So he actually threw those in, which was awesome. The next yard sale, I didn't get it on camera, but I found a bunch of old school plastic cups like the McDonald's Catwoman Batman Returns cups, a Orange Julius She-Hulk, and some Shreddies cups that I didn't even know they made. Now, there was a bunch of books at a few different yard sales. I didn't end up getting any books this weekend, but there were a lot to look at. Now, this was pretty cool. Probably the coolest thing I saw this weekend that I didn't pick up. It's a Anakin Skywalker Darth Vader collector case. I think it's from 1997. It's got a book on like the de-evolution of Anakin Skywalker into Darth Vader, or sorry, the evolution. And then like a doll, but he wanted $40 for it, so I passed. There was a couple Marvel Universe 3.75 inch figures that I also passed on because they only had one that wasn't broken. His lightsaber had seen better days as well. Now, this yard sale actually did have some Stephen King. She had the entire Dark Tower set. I've already got that one. Did have some cool Dean Koontz books, but I do have Dragon Tears, so that was another pass. But always cool to see some Stephen King at yard sales. I did buy some VHS tapes this weekend because I'm a sucker for the old rental cases. So if it looks like it had been rented, I got to buy it. I also scooped up The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe cartoon and couldn't resist Mac and Me. Had to grab it. This was the last yard sale of the day. They had all kinds of stuff. I ended up buying quite a bit. It was actually a little boy having a sale, so it was really cool because he was a little entrepreneur trying to wheel and deal and make sales. Had all kinds of McDonald's toys, some of the newer stuff. Also had books, video games, Pokemon cards, and even some old records, including a couple that I don't think they're worth very much, but I had to get them anyway just because. You're going to see why in a second. I mean, you're not going to not get a couple of these. Now, I didn't get this Steve Perry one, but here's the one I did get. Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up. I can physically Rickroll someone with a vinyl. Then right here, there's a couple more in here. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And I ended up finding Edie Brickell and I think it's the New Bohemians. Now, if you know the name of that song, leave it in the comments. That was almost the find of the day right there. Vagrant Story, previous rental for the PS1, but the case, there wasn't a case, there was only the instructions, and it wasn't even the game. So I ended up buying the instructions anyway, but time to get home and look at everything I got. So I ended up finding a couple smaller figurines, a Care Bear and a Smurf. And you saw these cups. I have no idea why they made Shreddy cups, but they made them anyway. Orange Julius She-Hulk, as well as the Batman Returns Catwoman cups. There's 3 of them for 25 cents. So that was a pretty good deal. A whole box full of Desert Storm Homecoming trading cards from 1991. That's probably the find of the weekend right there, Vagrant Story. Even in that condition, this little instruction book's worth about $30. Got a couple Brian Branch rookie cards. I don't know what those are worth, but it was cool that he gave them to me for free. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Mac and Me. I mean, you're not going to not buy Mac and Me. And finally, the records from this weekend. So it was a slower weekend. Didn't find as much as I was hoping for because of the weather. Hopefully next weekend will be better and we'll get back to some scores. Haven't really found any video games or Pokemon cards this year so far, so hopefully that changes next weekend. Thanks as always for watching. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and follow me on my yard sale journeys this summer.